Hello and welcome to this week's Birth and Baby Talk. I'm Leanne Palmerston from Hamilton Family Doulas, and I'm very glad that you're here to join us because today we have a really cool little sort of tip, trick, and definitely a recommended product. I guess you could call it a review, but we're going to show you something that if you've never heard of it before, it's going to kind of blow your mind, and you're going to want to add it to your baby registry if you're pregnant. And if you just had a baby recently, you're going to want to go grab one. What I'm talking about is the Haakaa. Now, I realized my son, when he asked me today, he said, "What are you talking about?" And I said, "The Haakaa." And he said, "Isn't that a Maori warrior dance? Or chant?" And I said, "Yes, but it's also the name of this really cool tool." And this really neat tool, let's have a look at it here. It's made 100% silicone, it's made of. And so it's very sort of soft and pliable, very easy, like it's firm, but very easy to sort of squish and squeeze and mold into the perfect shape you need it to be, to adjust to your curves, as it were. So, and it looks vaguely bottle-like, doesn't it? And it looks a little bit like a traditional milk pump, like breast milk pump. So what is it? It is a pump. It's kind of like a combination between a cup, simply a cup to catch milk as it flows, but also a kind of real low-key manual pump. See, you can squeeze it to create some vacuum pumping action, but it is something we call passive second side milk collection. So when you're nursing already, we've got baby Bob here. So let's pretend I'm nursing baby Bob, and I've got baby Bob here in a football hold, and I'm nursing him. And while I'm nursing him, I'm going to get a letdown, and that letdown is going to bring the milk, push the milk into the baby while the baby draws it into their body, right? Because breastfeeding and chest feeding is a two-person job, each playing their own very important part. And when one of those parts doesn't work very well, then the overall feeding doesn't work optimally. So Bob is working to draw the milk out, and my body is working to push the milk towards Bob. And when that happens on this breast that I'm nursing with, this breast is doing the exact same thing. You may not realize that, but when you breastfeed a baby or chest feed a baby on one side, milk is flowing out unstopped from your other chest or breast. So what do? Well, most of us up until now have been stuffing flannelette blankets, towels, washcloths, disposable and reusable breast pads, panty liners, whatever you got that's going to act like a sponge and soak up that excess milk that is just coming out. The other thing you can do to stop the flow is merely to push straight in on the nipple like this, as if the nipple was a button, right? So you push, looks better on this side, doesn't it? Yeah, we push in on the nipple and the flow will stop immediately. However, who wants to sit through a whole feed like this? And more importantly, if the milk is coming out and being collected in, let's say, a disposable breast pad, and then you're throwing that out, you're literally throwing away spilled milk, and you could be using that milk. Now think about, breastfeeding is not easy. Chest feeding is difficult to get started. I mean, sometimes it works out really well, and there's a very, very low entry point for some people, and some people have to work really hard to get it to work well for them. But no matter how it works out in the end, it's always got an element of learning and work to it. And you're going to, when you are a full-time nursing parent, you're going to be sitting with your little baby 8 to 12 times a day. And that's after the first few days. In the first couple of days, your baby may want to eat even more frequently in order to fill up their tiny stomachs, learn what they're doing, and stimulate milk production in your body. So what do? When that milk is just flowing, you can collect it and then use it to feed the baby in the future, when you might want to feed the baby with a bottle because, you have some things to do, like take an extra long nap or recover a little bit longer from an illness, or go out and get a haircut for the first time in 6 months. Can anyone see my roots? Holy moly. I haven't been to a hairdresser in a long time. And I bet you are the same. So if you're a new parent and you want to be able to have the flexibility of having a few bottles around, you can easily collect them with something like this, which costs in the neighborhood of $40 Canadian, instead of a $200 to $500 breast pump, like big machine that makes a lot of noise, has a lot of moving parts. And if you get one used, you often have to buy a collection kit to go with it. Or if you are a little less nervous about bacteria and things, you can just take the original and boil it or microwave it or do something to sanitize it so you can use it again for yourself. But the problem with using formerly used pumps is that a machine like a breast pump only has so many pumps in it until the machine starts to wear down, right? Like mechanical parts wear down over time. It's a rule of physics. And so if, your sister-in-law passed the pump to her sister, and then she passed it on to you, then the machine is going to work far less better than it did with its original owner. So do you really need to go through all of that? Just collect a few bottles. If you're not pumping full time, we highly recommend this as an alternative. So how does it work? Well, when you're getting yourself set up with your baby, we recommend starting out with a side feeding position like this, like the football hold or the rugby hold, depending on where you are in the world, right? We've got baby Bob tucked up under my arm, flat against my body. So he is in the perfect feeding position. I can support him to get latched on. And then I'm going to make sure I stuff a couple of nice pillows under my arms. So it's really easy to hold Bob up while I use my other hand to maybe take open my top or my nursing bra on the other side. And then I'm going to get this set up in position. Now, the first thing I'm going to do, the great thing that these are silicone, because you can sort of operate them with one hand, right? So I'm going to flip this back. Now I'm going to put Bob down for a minute so I can show you nice and thoroughly. I am going to flip this back like this. I'm then going to connect it to the breast just like I would with any other type of pump. I'm going to center this opening over top of the nipple and areola so that the nipple is approximately right in the center, right? So here I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to flip the flange back over. And now this is fabric, so I can't show you how it sticks on, but it actually does. That silicone kind of grips on to your body, to your skin. And so there it sits there. And With no milk in it, it'll sit there and be attached really well. You can even give it a little gentle squeeze to expel some air and create even more sort of suction to hold it on. And that suction will also help to gently draw out the milk. Because, remember, removing milk from the body is a two sort of person job. So having a little gentle pressure from this will definitely help to keep the milk moving and flowing out of your body. So when we do that, so we've got our baby and then we have this here, and we can use our hand to kind of just keep it up on the breast as it fills with milk. And I guarantee you're going to be shocked at how much milk will just flow out and get collected. Now, again, if you're nursing your baby and you have let's say a folded up flannel blanket stuffed into your bra to sop up the extra milk that's coming out, if you were to wring that out, sometimes you might get 1 or even 2 ounces of milk that'll come out all on their own. So use that. That's a lot. That's a full feed pretty much. So collect it. Maybe you'll only get a little bit. Maybe you'll only get 2 mils. Or you might, I'm guessing you'll probably get closer to around 30 or 50 mils doing this, especially if you do it on the one side, and then just naturally when you switch baby to the other side, you get yourself set up and go on the other breast as well. So here we are, and we can hang out and cuddle and talk, and I can talk to my baby and I'm pumping milk at the same time. And it's easy. I don't have to squeeze anything. So, some of those manual pumps have like a little lever that you squeeze. I don't have to do that. So I'm not going to get a hand cramp. If I want to gently sort of do the pumping action, I can just pump really softly like this. It's just really soft. I can hold it in lots of different ways. If I can only sort of get my thumb on it, I can sort of push in with my thumb to create that vacuum action. I can hold it in my fist and do it. If it's up here, I can have my hand like this, just gently doing a little pumping while the milk just naturally flows out. It is genius. And then, of course, on the bottom, there's like a little ring and there's a tab right there. And so when you're done, maybe it's time for baby to have a burp, or they've fallen asleep and I want to take them off one side and switch the other. I can take my pump, plop it down on a table near me, even if I've got a tray or a book on a sofa beside me, and it actually will stick. It doesn't even require, I'm doing this on my laptop right now. It doesn't require, so I push it down and it holds there. So it's not going to fall over easily. There are also, you can buy aftermarket, well, not aftermarket, because Haakaa, the company that makes these, also makes covers for them. They make other bigger stands for people who feel like they need something more heavier and more substantial to put the Haakaa into while not being used, so that the milk doesn't spill. I will caution you too, when you start to get a bit of milk in there, make sure, even if it's just keeping a hand on the bottom, or keeping your arm on it slightly like this, maybe to hold it into place, because it would really be awful if the weight of the milk inside was enough to pull this off. And because this isn't going to be a perfect suction. It's going to be a very gentle suction that holds it on. Now let's show that suction. So I like to do this when I'm teaching. I will take the Haakaa and put it on. Can you see? I realize I've got lots of extra flesh there, but look how much. That's actually a pretty good amount of suction. and I'm leaving my arm like pretty strong and it's not flying off. Isn't that amazing? I think that's kind of amazing. I love it. I wish they had these 17 years ago when I was struggling to breastfeed my first child, and then 13 years ago when I was struggling to breastfeed my second child. And I was trying to collect extra milk for them to make sure they got full tummies full of food. This would have saved me a lot of effort and heartache while I'm trying to take care of tiny babies and I don't have a lot of energy and I'm nursing around the clock. Adding in a pumping session with a big machine just in order to collect a few bottles worth of milk, or even enough for one bottle a day, so your partner can maybe take over a feed so that you can rest. Or if you have a doula or a night nanny coming over and you just need to collect a little bit of extra milk, you can do this all day long. After the feed, what you can do is you can take this, pour into a collection bag or a bottle and pop that into the fridge. Give it a rinse, put it in a Ziploc bag, toss it into the fridge, and then the next feed, go grab it and use it again. You can do that throughout the day until you are done using it at your feeds. So a lot of people might not want to use it overnight, although I highly recommend using it first thing in the morning. So for all your morning feeds, because your flow tends to be a little heavier, a little faster, a little more volume of milk in the morning hours. So highly recommend doing it then. But when you've decided you've collected a bunch of milk and you don't want to bother anymore for the rest of the day, then give it a good hot soapy wash. Put it in a standard sterilizer or I believe, let me see. You can microwave it. You can use it in a dishwasher. They do not recommend going above 250 degrees Celsius or below minus 20. It won't work. It'll start to break down. So that means toss it in the dishwasher, boil it in a pot of water, stick it in your sterilizer machine, pop it in one of those sterilizer bags and chuck it into the microwave for the allotted time. And you will sterilize that nice and quickly. You will not have to sterilize tubes and flanges and collection bottles from each of your pumps during the day. Come on. How awesome is this, right? All right. If you have one of these, then I would love for you to leave a comment here and let us know what your experience of it was. If you have never heard of it before, let us know. Do you think you would get one if you're planning to nurse your baby? Do you think you'll add this to your registry? Or if you were to have another baby, would you start using one of these? We'd love to hear your thoughts on the Haakaa. And if you've had some sort of mishap with the Haakaa, let us know. I'm so curious. This is such a new tool. It's only been out for a couple of years now that I haven't heard a lot of mishap stories. So I'd be very curious to see if you had some issues with your Haakaa. And every time you leave a comment, we are going to come back and chat with you. And also, join us next week. I don't know what next week's topic is going to be, but this month, we're going to be talking about a couple of really great things. I know at the end of the month, we're going to be talking about C-section scars and how to massage them so that they are nice and comfortable afterwards. Or if you have an old C-section scar, you're going to want to join us on the 25th of November when we're going to talk about how to sort of break up that scar tissue a little so that it doesn't pull in funny ways and is not uncomfortable for you. We're also going to be talking with some folks in the Ottawa area about what happens when birth doesn't go easily, and baby doesn't arrive 100% healthy. What then? And we're going to be talking about lots of other amazing things that are going to be, we think, are going to be really helpful for you as you move through your pregnancy, through your birth, and through your new parenting experience. If you have a question you want to ask, please hit us up, leave it in the comments, DM us. We want to know what's on your mind so we can build shows to answer all those questions and give you the information that you're looking for. And if you have not subscribed to our newsletter, we're going to drop the link in the comments. Subscribe to the newsletter, because in the Greater Toronto area, the Greater Hamilton area, and the Greater Ottawa area, you can get access to exclusive printables every week designed just for you, and information, links to this week's show and next week's show, as well as exclusive discounts for all of our subscribers. So, if you're thinking about a doula, there you can get, if you're thinking about a birth doula specifically, you've got a few days left before this month's discount is over. And that's $25 off of any birth doula service in Ottawa, Toronto, or Hamilton areas. Okay, so thanks again. I hope you're having a wonderful day and a wonderful week. We'll see you next week.